So anything you have that are complaints about the Village of Falconer, the mayor is right there. Yeah, so please direct all your comments to him. And anything else, there's other village officials here, grab them. I can point them out so you can talk to them. But I'm thrilled you're here. We're here tonight to honor one of the Falconer icons, Bill Race. And so this turnout bespeaks volumes of Bill, what a lot of people think of you. And so I'm just delighted that we're doing that. After our event here, I would like to make sure we take time to take some pictures, family pictures, Leanne. You'll know who they are that needs to be in the family picture. And Steve Garvey, who looks like Willie Nelson, is over there, and he will be taking the pictures. He's our photographer. Our videographer is Ed Tomasini of Long. He's just done everything for everybody. So I'm delighted to do that. First of all, I want to put everything kind of into perspective, and I'm going to read some excerpts that appear in the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame directory. We're here. We have Randy Anderson, who's the president, CEO of the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame, and for those who don't know, done an extraordinary job on many, many fronts. But in 1995, Bill was inducted into the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame, all of over 30 years ago, which is remarkable. And oh, by the way, let's pause for a second. He just turned 91. So how about if we sing Happy Birthday, Eva? And for those that know that, on July 8th, 1935, he was born in Archbald, Pennsylvania, which is near Scranton. He graduated from Archbald High School in 1954 and was an outstanding athlete. All 4 years, he lettered in football, basketball, and baseball while making the Lackawanna Conference All-Star team at all sports his senior year, where he was captain of each squad. I don't know if too many people can say all those happened in a short period of time. He was a halfback and safety in football. He was a guard in basketball, averaging 15 points. He was a pitcher, second baseman, and shortstop with baseball. One of his teammates was a guy kind of near and dear to me as a Detroit Tigers fan, Dick Trasuski. Yeah, and we're still trying to get him up here, And so that's Bill. And then after graduation, you may not know this, Bill enlisted in the Army for 2 years and performed in baseball and football in France, where he was chosen All-France Division E in both sports. And as a result of that, he got a bottle of champagne. And still has it. He's not sharing. Bill, they know you so well. Still drinking. He hit a .385 clip to lead the baseball squad to the South Division title and led the football team in rushing. And when he returned home, he was a softball all-star in 56 and 57 for the Daystrom, not Dahlstrom, Daystrom Instruments, which made parts for missiles. Then he decided that college was next. East Stroudsburg was where he played freshman football and moved into a prolific career in his final 3 campaigns, leading the team in rushing with 862 yards and scoring as a junior. Plus, he had 790 as a senior when he was a captain. He was an all-star, and the accolades continue. Finally, we get him back to Falconer. Get him to Falconer. After graduating in 1962, he became Falconer's head, and then became Falconer's head football coach in 1963. He had 4 undefeated seasons, and I know some of you folks played for him. And during that period of time, as Golden Falcons set a Chautauqua County mark of 28 wins in a row, 1973 to 77. And then in 1974, he's 8-0, 9-0 in 75, 8-0 in 76. And then there's some strange game in Olean where things stopped. I don't know. We won't talk about that. And some of the outstanding players which are mentioned in his bio, I know Joe Mastretta. Joe, raise your hand. He mentions you, and he also mentions a guy named Ori Me. Ori, raise your hand. Here you go. Ray Lindstrom, another one. And it just goes on. His records at football are just incredible, and leading to the fact that, in fact, they named the football field after Bill in 1995. Among the people that is also mentioned in this biography, and there are two other ones that I want to call out and call up. So first of all, I'd like to call up Mark Peterson. Mark, I want Mark to share a few thoughts and words, and know full well I have the final edit.
I just told him a little bit ago that if we could have roasted you, we'd be here for 2 hours, and there's still some stories we couldn't tell. Yeah, to be honest. I came back to Falconer when I got out of college, and actually I started coaching in 1975 or 79 when I was at Gates Child High School doing my student teaching. And after that, I came home and I went right to Falconer High School. I got on their substitute teaching list, and the next thing I did was I walked across the football field and I went right to Fenner to talk to Bill Race. And we talked about football, and I was one of them young guys that thought he knew a lot about football. Okay? I didn't realize what I didn't know until I hooked up with Bill Race. He old school 100%. And when I get called old school, it's a compliment because I learned old school from Bill. And all you guys that played here, and I see Ori over here, and I see Rod, and I saw Mike Palermo over there, and all you guys that played with Jim Dustin, you too, right? Yeah. Ernie Strickland, Joe Mastretta. You get it when I say that old school was Bill Race. Okay? You get it. He was tough on us. He made us tougher. He made us mentally tougher and physically tougher. And that was something that really sticks with you, so you understand what kind of a football program we came through. And it was all because of Bill. He hired me that day when I went over to see him, and he says, I got a modified position open. I said, modified? What's modified? And he said, well, it's 7-8 now, grades 7 and 8. And it used to be 7, 8, 9. Well, they moved the freshmen up to JVs, and so I took over that program. And talk about learn the game, because you never know what you don't know until you get into it. And I remember going down for the first week, the first game, and there's Bill and Bill Davenport in the locker room. And they're on a chalkboard, actually a chalkboard, not a whiteboard. We weren't looking at a laptop, but it was a chalkboard with an eraser. And they put all this stuff on that chalkboard. I mean, we had to scout, and that was pre-filming. You couldn't go to a game and film it. Weren't allowed. We had to go and write every football play that we saw, every defense, and Kurt can attest to this. Where's Kurt? He can attest to this. We had to sometimes take 3 guys and break an offense down. You take the left side of the line, I'll take the right side of the line, you take the running backs. And we had to chart every bit of it. And that was real. That's how you learned football. And we went to many clinics all over the place. New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio. And you learned that you didn't go online and watch a clinic online. You went to the clinics, you went to the colleges. You went to Cortland, you went to Penn State, you went to Syracuse, you went to Carnegie Mellon, and Binghamton. Binghamton had a good football clinic. And that reminds me of a story when we went to the Binghamton football clinic. All of a sudden Bill says, we're going to Scranton. Well, Scranton? What are we going to Scranton for? Well, his hometown was Archbald, Pennsylvania. And he took us home to Archbald. Met Harry and Maggie and stayed there, had a couple of real nice meals, and had a good time after, and then came back home to their house. But Archibald was a different animal. If you think of Bill Race, there was 1,000 Bill Races down in Archibald, Pennsylvania. Let me tell you, tough people, miners, and it was just that type of town that produced tough people. And they produced a real tough one in this guy right here. And I can't say thank you enough for what you taught me, and it's amazing we became such good friends. We hit it off. And all of a sudden he's following my boys and their athletics and baseball and basketball, and he actually went to a Washington and Jefferson game and watched my youngest son Kyle play. That was a great time, and Bill loved it. We got pictures of him together, and he still loves football to this day. Might not remember a lot of things due to some of the games and stuff, but all in all, he knows exactly what he wants to say. And I just can't say thank you enough, because you opened up my career. And a lot of people don't know this either. I read a book about Bill Parcells, the ex-Giants head coach. And he talked about building a football staff. And I thought, okay, I'm going to read this chapter. And he said, every good and new coach needs to have somebody with gray hair on their staff. And I thought, oh, I got it. And I talked Bill into coming up to Casadega when I got the head job there. And I talked Bill Davenport also. And them guys were on my staff, a little bit older at the time. And they absolutely loved them two guys. And can't say enough about that either, because football wasn't out of his system yet. And he retired. And the same thing with Bill Davenport. I was hoping Bill would be here tonight, but that'll be for a story for another time. But between them two guys, did they argue a lot? And I know you've heard stories. And yeah, they argued, but they were still best of friends. I remember sitting down near that chalkboard down in that locker room, and there's chalk flying around, and there's erasers flying around, clipboard being smashed on the floor, but they were still best of friends, and they wanted one goal, to make the kids better. And I sat there, and I can't remember the first time I even added anything that I thought into one of these coaching sessions with Bill and Bill. And I thought, boy, I better just keep quiet here and learn as much as I can. And I wrote down everything I could think of, and it just worked out real well for me. And thanks, like I said, thanks to Bill. And, I look at this, too, that you're lucky in your lifetime if you have one or two guys that are an influence on your life other than your father. And the top of the list is Bill, right here. And I mean that from my heart, buddy. I love you. Thanks. Told you a little emotional now and then.
I'd like to call up Kurt Fisher. Kurt is also shouted out and in the biography of you, Bill. So, what you saw in Kurt, I don't know, but you mentioned him. So here we go. Kurt, here we go.
Well, it's an honor to be here tonight, for sure, for one of the greatest men in my life. It's an honor for me every day now, coaching at Falconer, to walk onto Bill Race Field. That is, it's a feeling that you just can't lose, because Coach was more than a coach, more than a teacher, he was a friend, and he was a second father to almost every kid that he coached. One of the things I could stand up, like Mark said, we could talk about the funniest things we've ever done with Coach. We've enjoyed some funny things, and we definitely couldn't talk about all of them, but I know one thing about Coach. Every person every kid that ever played for him, he was always worried about them. I know there were times, there was a kid that played for him that was living above the bullfrog, going through some bad times. I know that Coach, nobody knew this, Coach would go down there and he would talk with him and give him the money he needed to survive. That's a man that never forgot anybody that played for him. That goes beyond coaching. And that's what Bill Race was all about. When we talk about coaching, when I played for him, I don't know how this happened, but we really didn't get water breaks. We got these big jugs of salt tablets. If any of you guys remember those, it's like, yeah, just take these things. You reach in there. They were disgusting. But I don't know what changed in life that we didn't die back then, because there's no reason kids weren't dropping. But as a teacher, I only had the opportunity once. He substituted over at Northside, and it was I can still remember this, and I'm really old, don't remember a lot. But I do remember playing this game called Mummy Ball. And it was this huge ball, and you had to push the other team. Well, I was chewing gum, and Mr. Fedorka never really enforced anything. I was chewing gum. Within the first 2 minutes of the class, he sees me, and he makes me do the rest of the class with the gum on my nose. And anytime it fell off, he made sure we stopped, and I had to play the rest of gym class. And I thought, wow, this is a guy I'm going to play for someday. This is going to be tough. But he really was. I think that the best way to describe Coach, there's a lot of guys. He turned a lot of boys into men. He got a lot of boys ready for life through his coaching style. And you always knew if you needed something, he was there. You know, and I attribute a lot of the little success I may have had coaching to him. He was always in the back of my mind. He was always there, and I always knew what I was doing right and what I was doing wrong. And then he started announcing everything on the radio and TV, so I really got an earful after the game. I never wanted to watch the broadcast because the one thing we always disagreed on was I like to throw the football. Coach Ray's told me there's only two things that can happen when you throw the football. One is bad and the other one is worse. When I was a quarterback, I think there was one game I might have thrown it 6 times, and I think that was because we were behind. But he did not like to throw the football. And now, just knowing every day that I had the opportunity to be not only a player, to have this man in my life, it's life-changing. And I think the best compliment to you, Coach, that I would say, there's a lot of men out there right now, still to this day, that would run through a brick wall for you. Maybe now we would do it walk through or something like that. But we would do that for you because we knew you would do that for us. And I know that they all love you. We love you. And Coach, I love you more than anything, man. Thanks for the opportunity. I would not have gotten anywhere without you. And you did that for a lot of people. You're the best. Thank you, Coach.
To kind of put a capping on all of this on the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame is the fact that Bill Race is one of the finest football coaches, not only Chautauqua County history, but also New York State. Falconer Central School is proud he decided to make his home in this area in 1963. And thanks to what you have done, they had the greatest seasons in school history, and you compiled over a 32-year record of over 174 wins as the mentor at the time of induction into the Sports Hall of Fame. And as I think it's still the case, Randy, I didn't ask to confirm it, but I think he has more career wins of any football coach in Chautauqua County. If not, it's close. So to Bill Race, we say thank you for being who you are. And in order to kind of memorialize a little of this, there's going to be a couple of pictures taken. There's a lot of guys that I'm looking over here who came here for a reason. Like the Joe Mastrettas of the world and the Ray Lindquist and Ori Meese. If you played for Bill, how about if we have a picture with all those who are here who played with and for Bill? And Pat, we may ask you to take the picture because Steve's one of them. I'll take the picture. Anyways, if we could do that, and then also a second picture, Leanne, you and your family here, that would be terrific. On behalf of Falconer, I want to thank everybody, most importantly Bill Race, for making this all a reality. We don't have this event unless there has Bill Race here and have the career that you had, which would evoke the Mark Petersons and the Kurt Fishers and everybody else who showed up tonight to do that. So with that, we'll stand adjourned, and maybe we could go over there where there's not tents. And so those who played with Bill, come on over here and we'll take the picture.